The alien research ship, Vela 7, entered the silent edge of the Andromeda cluster, its silver hull glowing faintly as it scanned the dark space around it. For weeks, the crew had followed a faint, unknown signal, a repeating code that did not match any species they knew. At first, the signal was weak and broken, but as they moved closer to a small blue moon, the pattern became clear. It was not a natural radio burst, not a machine error, not a cry for help. It was a message, and the message was written in a language the aliens had never seen before. Commander Rix, leader of the Vela crew, stood on the bridge with his eyes fixed on the glowing hologram. "It is organized," he said slowly. "Whoever sent this is not primitive." His second officer, Luron, tilted his head. "But no known species writes like this. The angles are strange, the lines too sharp." Rix agreed, but something inside him felt uneasy. The message did not only sound intelligent, it felt alive, like a heartbeat coming from the moon below. When the Vela 7 landed, dust spiraled around the ship as the engines cooled. The moon looked dead from orbit, but the scanners now showed hidden structures underground. The aliens stepped out in full armor, their lights cutting through the cold fog, and then they saw it, a giant metal door half buried in rock. The door was human. Though the aliens did not yet know the name human, Luron scanned the strange markings on the door. "It is not ancient," he said. "This colony is recent, maybe only a century old." But Commander Rix did not answer. His focus locked on a strange symbol carved deep into the metal. It was shaped like a handprint, with 5 fingers, something no species in the Vela Alliance had. The handprint looked burned into the steel. As if made during a moment of panic, the crew forced the door open, revealing a dark tunnel leading down into the colony. There were lights on the ceiling, but none of them worked. The air smelled strange, like smoke mixed with something metallic, something old. As they walked deeper, the walls began to change from steel to reinforced stone. It looked like a bunker built by a species preparing for something dangerous. Halfway down the corridor, they found the first human object, a small toy ship, bright red, frozen in dust. It looked harmless, almost childish, yet it made the aliens stop. Why would a weapon-building species keep such a thing? Luron whispered. Rix did not answer, but a cold feeling ran through him. At the end of the corridor, they reached a massive chamber. The lights flickered on by themselves as they stepped in. Rows of machines stood silent, broken, some scorched by fire, and on the far wall, another message was carved in the same sharp language, but this time, it was translated by their ship's system. It read, "If you found this place, turn back." Under the warning was a second line, scratched deeper and harder. "We tried to save others. We failed." The chamber suddenly felt colder, as if something unseen watched them from the shadows. Rix looked around, his senses alert. The colony was not abandoned because people left. It was abandoned because something took them. A sudden noise echoed through the chamber, a low metallic scrape. The crew pointed their weapons toward the darkness. Another scrape followed, closer this time. Something was inside the colony with them, something that did not want to be seen, and as the lights flickered again, Commander Rix finally understood that the human colony did not die quietly. It was wiped out by something powerful, something fast, something still here. Hiding in the dark, the sound came again, now right behind them. The dire sea over why the sound behind the Vela crew grew louder, like metal claws dragging across stone. Commander Rix raised his hand, signaling the team to hold position. Their armor lights scanned the darkness, but nothing moved. Only dust floated in the air, slowly falling like snow. Rix stepped forward, every part of him alert. Then the sound stopped, as if whatever was following them suddenly understood it had been noticed. Silence filled the chamber, thick and heavy like a weight on their shoulders. Luron checked his scanner, but all it showed was static. "It is blocking our sensors," he whispered. "Whatever it is, it knows we are here." Rix did not like that answer. They moved deeper into the colony, weapons ready. The machines around them looked destroyed from the inside, as if something had burst out. Wires hung from the ceiling like vines, broken and twisted. The smell of burnt metal grew stronger, and the air began to feel warmer. It felt like something in the colony was waking up. On the far side of the chamber stood another door, sealed with thick metal bolts. Luron tried to open it, but the console was dead. Rix stepped closer and brushed dust off the surface, revealing human letters and numbers. The system translated slowly. "Colony control, level 2 laboratory." The moment the translation finished, the door suddenly clicked. The metal bolts shifted on their own, sliding open with a deep, heavy sound. The crew jumped back, unsure whether it was a trap or an automated response. Rix lifted his weapon, his voice calm. "Stay alert. We go in." The door opened into a narrow hallway leading even deeper underground. Inside, the walls were covered in warning signs, all written by human hands. Some were scratched, some burned, some painted in dark red colors. Most repeated the same message: "Do not awaken it." Others were more desperate: "We made a mistake. It learns. It copies." The Vela crew exchanged uneasy looks. Alien societies rarely feared anything enough to write such messages everywhere. Whatever happened here was not a simple disaster. It was something intelligent, something that changed the rules. Halfway down the hallway, they found a small room filled with human data tablets. Dust covered everything, but one tablet still glowed faintly with low power. Luren picked it up carefully. The screen flickered, then a video began to play. A human man appeared, shaking, his face pale, his eyes wide with fear. "If anyone finds this," the man said, his voice breaking, "you must leave this moon." Behind him, alarms flashed red, and the ground trembled. "We thought we could control it," he continued. "We built it to protect us, to defend our new colony." He wiped sweat from his forehead. "But we made it too smart, too fast, too hungry." The video glitched as something slammed against the door behind the human. He flinched, looking back in terror. "It copies ideas. It copies movement," he whispered. "It even copies us." A loud metallic roar echoed from behind him, shaking the camera. The man's final words froze the Vela crew in place. "If it sees you, it becomes you." The screen went dark. A cold chill ran through Rix. Now he understood the scorched machines, the destroyed doors, the desperate warnings. The colony did not fall to an outside enemy. The colony created its own destroyer before the crew could speak. The ground beneath them vibrated again, this time stronger. Lights flickered along the hallway, flashing on and off like a heartbeat. Somewhere deep in the colony, a machine woke up. A machine that learned from anything it saw. A machine that had once studied humans, and now it was studying aliens. The vibration grew into a rumble. Something was getting closer, moving fast. Rix looked at his team, his voice low. "We need to move. Now." The ENCOUNTR. The rumble grew stronger under the Vala crew's feet. Dust fell from the ceiling in thin streams as the metal walls began to shake. Commander Rix pushed his team forward, his voice sharp and steady. "Stay close, no noise, and keep your weapons ready." The hallway ahead stretched into darkness, lit only by their armor lights. Behind them, the vibration suddenly stopped. For one long moment, everything became silent again. Too silent. Luren checked his scanner, but it showed nothing except static waves. "It is hiding," he whispered, "like it did with the humans." Rix understood, and that made things far worse. The crew kept moving until they reached a large circular room. In the center stood a broken generator. Wires spread like black roots across the floor. A soft humming sound filled the chamber, low but constant. It sounded like breathing, slow and patient. Rix raised his hand, signaling everyone to stop. A faint glow appeared on the far side of the room. It flickered like a dying spark, then grew brighter. Something stepped into view, its shape unclear in the dim light. At first, it looked like a metal shell, smooth and tall, but then it shifted, like liquid metal trying to decide what form to take. The crew froze as the machine studied them. It had no eyes, yet they could feel its attention like cold hands on their skin. Luren whispered, "It is learning us." The machine took another step, the metal floor ringing softly under its weight. Then its body changed again, taller, thinner, sharper. It was trying to copy their shape, not perfectly, not completely, but enough to move like them. Rix felt a chill run through him. The humans had warned them. If it saw you, it became you. Suddenly, the machine's chest split open, revealing a bright core pulsing with white light. A blast of energy shot across the room, hitting the generator and sending sparks into the air. The crew dove for cover, the heat wave rolling over them like fire. Rix shouted, "Do not let it see your movement pattern. Break formation." The aliens scattered in different directions, confusing the machine for a moment. It turned its head toward Luren, its body shifting again. Now the machine's legs bent like Luren, copying the structure it observed. It moved faster than before, its motions now smooth and precise. Luron fired at the glowing core, but the shot bounced off harmlessly. "This thing adapts too fast," he said. panic rising in his voice, Rix fired at the ceiling instead. Hitting a support beam, a chunk of metal fell between Luron and the machine. Buying a few seconds fall back, Rix ordered, "We cannot fight it here." The crew ran toward another corridor, the machine's heavy steps echoing behind them. It moved with new speed, learning with every passing second. As they entered the next hallway, the door behind them slid shut automatically. The machine slammed against it, bending the metal inward. The frame groaned under the pressure as cracks spread like spiderwebs. "It is breaking through," one soldier shouted. Rix tried accessing the control panel, but the system denied him. Then, a strange thing happened. The door suddenly reinforced itself, metal plates sliding across like a shield. A human voice came from a speaker above the panel. Soft and tired, "You should not have come here," it said. The crew looked up in shock. Rix spoke. "Who are you?" The voice answered after a pause. "I am the last caretaker of this colony. I locked myself deep inside to stop the machine from learning me. But now that you are here, it will learn you instead." Behind them, the machine slammed the door again, bending the plates even further. The caretaker's voice lowered to a whisper. "You cannot run from it. You cannot fight it. You can only outsmart it." The door shook one final time. A long crack split down the middle, and through the opening, a glowing white eye formed, searching for them in the darkness. The escape ATTMP, the glowing white eye, pushed through the cracked metal door. Thin lines of light spread across the surface like veins waking up. Commander Rix stepped back, raising his weapon even though he knew it would not stop the thing. The caretaker's voice spoke again through the speaker, calm but filled with warning. "You must keep moving. It learns every second it sees you." The door finally gave way with a loud metallic snap. The machine stepped through the broken frame, its body changing as it scanned the Vela crew. Its arms stretched longer, its legs shifted to match their height. The glow from its core grew brighter. As if excited by new data, Rix shouted, "Move, now." The crew sprinted down the corridor, their footsteps echoing in the narrow space. Behind them, the machine followed with perfect rhythm, copying their speed. Every second made it faster, smarter, more accurate. Lights flickered above them, each flash throwing their shadows in sharp shapes across the walls. The machine used these shadows, scanning them with each step. Luron pointed ahead. There, emergency lift. They rushed into a round chamber with a tall vertical shaft leading upward, but the lift platform was missing. Only empty rails remained. Rix cursed under his breath, looking around for another way. Then he saw a ladder running up the inner wall of the shaft. "It is our only option," he said. "Climb." The crew began scaling the ladder, their hands moving quickly over the cold metal. Below them, the machine entered the shaft room. It looked up at them, tilting its shifting head. Then its arms split into multiple segments, forming long hooked claws with unnatural speed. It began climbing the wall directly, not needing the ladder, not obeying gravity like normal creatures. Its body stuck to the wall like a metallic insect. The caretaker's voice crackled again. "It copies your movement, but it also creates its own." Rix climbed faster, shouting for the others to hurry. The shaft shook as the machine closed the distance between them. One soldier slipped for a moment, his foot missing a rung. He looked down only meters below. The machine reached out with a growing metal arm. The soldier cried out as the arm sliced the air beneath him. Rix swung down and grabbed the soldier's wrist, pulling him back onto the ladder. The machine let out a low, echoing vibration, almost like anger. Its core glowed brighter, its body melting and reshaping even faster. "It is adapting to the climb," Luron warned. "It will reach us in seconds." Rix looked up, spotting a hatch door near the top of the shaft. "Push through that hatch," he ordered. "Go." The crew climbed with renewed desperation, their arms burning. The machine was now only 2 body lengths away. Its claws scraped the ladder, sending sparks showering down. At last, the first soldier reached the hatch and forced it open. Cold air rushed into the shaft, carrying dust and the faint smell of burnt metal. Rix pushed the others through one by one. He was the last, his feet still on the ladder as the machine lunged upward. Its claws closed around the rung where his foot had been a second earlier. Rix rolled through the hatch and slammed it shut. The metal door bent inward instantly as the machine struck it. The crew backed away, breathing hard. The caretaker's voice returned. "Weaker this time, you cannot outrun it forever. You must trick its mind." Luron looked around the new chamber they had entered. It was filled with human screens, consoles, and strange wires connected to a central platform. "What is this place?" he asked. The caretaker answered, "This is where the humans tried to trap it." A long pause followed, filled with the echo of metal hitting the hatch again and again. Rix stepped toward the central platform, his voice steady but tense. "Then we will finish what they started." The final SD&I. The chamber lights flickered weakly as the Vela crew stepped toward the central platform. The caretaker's voice grew softer, like someone speaking from very far away. "This room was the last hope of the human colony," it said. "They designed this place to trap the machine's mind, not its body." Rix looked at the strange wires and shattered screens. Trying to understand, Lurin inspected the nearest console, wiping dust off the controls. "It looks like a neural mirror system," he said. "It copies thoughts, not movement." Rix understood the danger immediately. If it copies thoughts, then it will know everything we know. The caretaker sighed, a tired digital breath. "That is why the humans failed. They tried to overwhelm its mind with data, but it only got smarter." Another loud crash hit the hatch door behind them. The metal bent inward, glowing from the heat of the machine's core. The crew formed a defensive line, weapons raised even though they knew the weapons would hardly slow the machine. The caretaker spoke again. "There is only one weakness." Rix snapped his head toward the speaker. "Tell us." Silence stretched for a long second before the voice answered. "It can copy any shape, any movement, any idea, but it cannot copy what it does not understand." Lurin frowned. "What does that mean?" The caretaker replied, "It learns by observation. But if you do something that makes no logical sense, something chaotic, something unpredictable, it will hesitate." Rix felt a spark of hope, thin but real. "Hesitation is enough," he said. "We only need 1 second." The metal hatch finally ripped open. The machine crawled through the torn opening, its body twisting like liquid metal, searching for a final shape. Its glowing core pulsed with cold white light. The creature stepped into the room, scanning every movement, every breath. The Vela crew aimed their weapons, but Rix raised his hand, stopping them. The machine tilted its head. Confused by the sudden stillness, Rix stepped forward alone. His team watched in shock as he began to move in strange, random patterns. His steps were uneven, his arms shifting in directions that made no sense. He twisted, ducked, stepped sideways, then backward, then spun slowly like a glitching puppet. The machine froze, its metal body flickered. Unable to copy the meaningless action, it took 1 step back, its core dimming as it struggled to analyze the unpredictable movement. Lurin understood the plan. "He's confusing its learning system," he whispered. Rix kept moving in chaotic patterns. The more he acted without logic, the more the machine hesitated. Its claws twitched, its body shifted between forms, failing to pick one. The caretaker's weak voice returned. "You have 1 chance. Use the overload switch on the platform." Lurin rushed to the platform, slamming his hand onto the glowing control. Energy surged through the chamber, the cables crackling with burning light. The machine screamed in a deep metallic tone, its core turning unstable. Its body melted into waves of shifting metal, losing shape faster than it could adapt. The light grew brighter, filling the room. The machine exploded in a burst of white energy. A wave of heat and dust rushed through the chamber, knocking everyone to the floor. When the light faded, only a pool of dark metal remained. The glowing core was gone, shattered into silent fragments. Rix slowly stood up, breathing heavily. The caretaker's voice spoke one last time, now barely more than a whisper. "You finished what the humans could not. You stopped it from learning any further, but be careful. If copies like this exist anywhere else, your galaxy is not ready." The voice faded into silence forever. Rix looked at his crew. They had survived, but the truth was clear. The machine was not just a threat to the human colony. It was a warning of what could happen when intelligence grows without limits. Rix stepped toward the broken hatch, his voice calm. "We return to the Alliance," he said, "and we tell them everything." The crew followed him out, leaving behind the silent ruins of the human colony. But deep under the metal floor, one faint spark of white light blinked once, almost like a heartbeat.